See these nice cars in this big house, thought I was bluffing. Think it was handed to me, but me and my brothers, we started from nothing. Kept my nose to the meat.
Well, it's kind of the $1 million question, right? Staying ahead of your competition is what business has really been all about since business has been business, right? It's how do I maintain that edge? I guess my thought on that is not so much how do I use technology to stay ahead, but how do I use technology to stay properly aligned with my mission, with my goal? Because I think when you do that, you are ultimately staying ahead of your competition. I talk to my clients all the time. In fact, this morning had a conversation, and I think that a lot of business owners try to implement technology, frankly, to become lazy. They want the technology to take over doing the things that they don't want to do. And while that's kind of the point, it also goes to the state of their work ethic and their character, I think, to some degree, because if you're using technology to just replace the things that you don't like, I think you should ask yourself the question of, why don't I like the thing that I'm trying to avoid doing, and why is that part of my business, right? Why is that so important in my business? Maybe it's not. Maybe I need to just pluck that out of my business, and then that changes the overall focus and attention that I have on that part of my business in the first place. Because staying competitively ahead of your businesses that are in the same space as you, it's such a subjective thing, because I always say to people, I could give you a written blueprint, step by step, of exactly what it is that I do. I could hand it to you, and because you're not me, you're never going to implement at the same fashion as I do. It's never going to be the same thing. So it's really, I don't know, I always say collaboration over competition. I say, instead of trying to stay ahead of your competition, why don't you find unique and creative ways to work with people, share information with them? And I think that's where technology really comes in, because we can knowledge share things using technology about how we're in our own industries respectively, staying ahead of the curve in terms of the industry and not each other. And I think that that's important, because when you look at how we interact with one another, if I'm let's just say I'm a cake baker, right? And in that industry of baking is my passion, it's my world, it's my life. If that's true, then I want that industry to do well. I want all bakers of the world to do well, right? And I don't care what industry you're in, that should be your perspective. I want everybody to have success, because there's enough out there for everybody to have. And so I don't get caught up in the competitive aspect of that. Rather, I try to find ways that I can help lift up the industry that I'm in as a whole, right? So as a coach, I want all coaches to be successful, not just business coaches, not life coaches, not relationship coaches, trauma coaches. I want the coaching industry to rise, right? And then within technology, I want people to be technologically aware. So I'd rather find ways that I can leverage technology in this case, or whatever else it is in your industry, to make the whole industry successful. Because if the whole industry is successful, then and only then do I feel like I have this long-term security thing going on, and I don't have to worry about whether or not someone's going to need a coach, or in this case, a cake baker, right? It's a silly example, but let's say within that same example, as a baker, there's this new technology that comes out that, needs the dough faster, right? You're no longer doing it by hand, or a mixer, right? Because I know someone's going to say, well, there's mixers that do that. Right. Well, that's technology, right? There's a mixer. Let's say that as a competitive mindset, I want to stay ahead of everybody in the industry, and I know about this new fancy mixer that's computer operated or whatever, and I can crank out 50 more cakes per day than my competitors, and I don't share that with other people. Well, that's great for me for a while, because that makes me more productive in my own business, but as an industry, I'm not necessarily doing my part to elevate the industry as a whole. Whereas if I share that technology or that knowledge with other people in the industry, then the whole industry gets to rise. No pun intended, rise, baking and all that. So, but anyways, it's meant to be, in my opinion, technology, knowledge, all of the things that make us competitive, that make us, ahead of our competition. I think that that's a wrong perspective. I think we should be looking at how to leverage all those things so that we can all have success together.